Friday Night Lights means it's time for the final score. Your home for hard hits, big plays, and the Basin's #1 football show. The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
And welcome once again into the Final Score. Ben Peck with Aaron Reynolds joining us, and thank you so much for joining us as well.
Well, we have
thank you for joining us.
Yes, happy to be here.
Yeah.
Another week of high school football under our belts, something everyone can appreciate, even if you are a Cubs fan.
Or, God forgive you if you're a Cardinals fan, but y'all need to just cool it on the diamond. But as we get back to the football field, almost finished with our little warm-up tosses here on the show, and as we dig in at the plate, we will start things off with our game of the week. And we will start, as we mentioned, Greenwood and Seminole, both teams 3-0 coming into this. Seminole, the home field advantage, and the fans there providing a nice atmosphere for the Indians. First quarter, looks like Rangers are going to punch it in, but fumble on the goal line. Dylan Stokes coming up with it for the Indians. So it looks like the fun is foiled for the Rangers, but not for long. Ensuing possession, they get some points on the defensive end with the safety, doing the safety dance there in the end zone. Rangers with a 2-0 lead. Same score midway through the first quarter. Trey Cross punching it in to the end zone. Extra point makes it 9-0. Then the Rangers continuing to pile on. Would it be a Greenwood highlight, Aaron, if we didn't show Brody Ray with a big reception down the field?
Wouldn't even know who's playing.
I mean, right? My goodness. And then Weston Wilbur, maybe hard to tell here, but he did squeeze his way in for a touchdown right there. Good enough to get in for 6. And Greenwood, a convincing win over the Indians.
Wow.
38-8. The Rangers remain undefeated. We knew one team would suffer its first setback. That team is Seminole. And now we will send it out to Jake Eichstedt, who was able to catch up with head coach Rusty Purser after the game.
The Final Score Sports Desk, brought to you by Stanley Ford.
Ben, Aaron, greetings from Wigwam Stadium in Seminole. I got Coach Rusty Purser here. He is the winning coach tonight. Greenwood over Seminole, 38-7, a pretty convincing victory if you ask me. Coach, now I know you're an alum of Greenwood, so talk to me what it's like being on this side now as a coach.
Well, you know, being back as a coach, and it's kind of been since I got here back in April, you know, it's a really cool experience. I mean, you can't really put it into words. I actually worked here right out of college. I came back, worked for my dad for a year, went off, did the career thing, had the opportunity to come back, you know, when I did with the family being where they are and kids and stuff like that. So to come back and to be a part of it, you know, the tradition is probably the biggest thing. You know, there's still things that are going through not only the football program but Greenwood overall that were started, you know, while I was in school, from the time I was 6th grade all the way through high school and graduation. Just doing a lot of things that you know, are really neat to be able to have that type of tradition that's, you know, 20, 30 years going on, and to be able to continue that and to be a part of that from a athletic director and from a head coach's perspective. It's been a lot of fun to be in that role.
I'd love to hear that. Now, I think personally you guys took the life out of Seminole tonight, especially with that ground game. You got those 2 running backs in Snodgrass and Cross. Talk to me about, or can you just expand on that a little bit about your offensive game plan for tonight?
Yeah, you know, I disagreed a little bit with you just because I thought we started a little slower than we normally have. And mostly that was just opening drive. I think this was the first opening drive that we really didn't capitalize on all year. And to get down close, to have a turnover was very disappointing. Then we kind of had to get things going defensively. But, the running game has been really solid. And I'll put a lot of credit on our offensive line. I mean, the backs have been super and been very explosive. And it's been a nice 1-2 punch with those two young men. But to put the same guys, the 5-6, including our tight end up front, and that are really moving bodies, and really the spark plug that gets that running game going has been tremendous. And then be able to have some playmakers like Brody Ray outside, and then Weston has been super as far as being able to get the ball vertically down the field, and it just keeps you from being one-dimensional. And you go back to old school ground and pound type football, and you look and you might throw the ball 3 or 4 times a game. We're able to take the top off a little bit more often than that, keep people unbalanced, and that's helping out with the running game as well. But overall the offense is playing solid. I agree with you tonight that just the physical aspect of the game over and over coming at you definitely played into the score tonight.
Now, you talked a little bit about that fumble on the opening drive, but your defense did respond with that safety. What did your defense do tonight to stifle Seminole?
Well, I tell you, the defense has been tremendous playing with speed. They're one of the most comfortable groups that I've gotten to coach. A lot of that has to do with experience. I mean, there's several seniors and juniors that have played for multiple years, and they've done a tremendous job, and they're very confident at what they're doing. And when you have some confidence, you can play fast, and that's what they're doing. And I think that's made offenses have to adjust early on in games. I know Shallow Water struggled with it last week, just the defensive speed. I felt like Seminole was the same case. We forced, I know the first 3 drives were all 3 and outs. We had a big safety there early on. So, the defensive speed is probably number one thing that overall, and that's contributed to all 11 of those guys that are out there. I mean, there's the front is playing exceptionally well, and that frees up those linebackers to make a lot of plays. But every time somebody tries to throw the ball, it seems like we're doing a very good job in the secondary, whether it's an interception or a pass breakup. So, overall, credit goes to all of them, and I think a lot of that is the confidence that they have.
Coach Purser, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure. You have a safe drive home. Again, guys, Greenwood absolutely thumping Seminole tonight in their own building. Back to you, Ben and Aaron.
Well, I didn't realize Jake had 2 interview guests there, but took it in stride.
We missed that last one.
Absolutely, but thank you so much, Jake, and we will continue on now, taking a look at the rest of Class 4A, starting off with Andrews, one of the teams in that district of Seminole, and they've been looking really impressive early on.
Yeah, they lost that first game on the road against Lubbock Cooper,
Very
and since then, Andrews with back-to-back wins in week 1 and week 2 and 3.
And that's just the start of it. Last game, really something, especially for junior wide receiver Marquise Lawrence. He was named the Built Ford Tough Player of the Week for Class 4A, and my goodness, you see why there. 14 receptions, 245 yards, and 5 touchdowns in the game last week against Levelland Mustangs, able to win that game 44-19.
Not too shabby. Andrews took on Snyder tonight, who still have yet to get a win on the season, and the Mustangs are going to come away with that win 58-13, as you can see there, your final in week 4. So the Mustangs improved to 3-1 on the year.
And word on the street, Lawrence had 5 touchdowns once again in that game. Cannot confirm, but we shall see. Pecos on the road at Big Spring, a pair of 1 and 2 teams. They played Seminole tough last week, Pecos did, and they get the win here 25-6 over the Steers.
Going to keep it rolling with some more games. Fort Stockton taking on San Angelo Lakeview. Both of these teams undefeated.
A little surprising, especially for Lakeview there.
So 3-0, especially with the season that they had last year. But we're going to take a look at these highlights here. We're going to start here in the first quarter. No scores still for both teams, and it's going to be the opening drive for the Chiefs. Going for it on 4th down. Bad snap, and Albert Rodriguez falls on it, so turnover on downs. Later on, Panthers quickly march down the field on their first drive. Dominic Aguilar keeps it and runs it 4 yards for the touchdown. Fort Stockton gets on the board first, 7-0. Later on in the quarter, 3rd and goal for the Panthers. Aguilar this time punches it in for another touchdown, 13-0. They really like that run game over there.
I would say so. Aguilar playing really well.
Skip ahead to the second now after a missed 27-yard field goal by the Panthers. On this next drive, Albert Rodriguez. Holy moly. And I know our producer, Jake Myers, is stoked about that. He likes the San Angelo
That was a
team.
nice
80-yard touchdown pass. 13-7 still for Fort Stockton. Taking a look at the final. And the Panthers get a nice win on the road, 60-21. Your final day in San Angelo, its first loss of the season.
So 4-0 right there for Fort Stockton. All right, over in the Tall City, Monahans visiting Midland Christian. Midland Christian 1-2, but Monahans 0-3 to start the Fred Stout era, looking for their first win of the season. Opening possession for the Mustangs, Brett Clark running it to the right-hand side. You'll notice that might be a trend, 6-0 Mustangs. Head coach Greg McClendon deciding, hey, let's go for 2 right here. And the run to the right, Matthew Madison would get in to make it 8-0. Fans feeling pretty good about that. And after Monahan's 3 and outs, how about Clark running to the right? Once again, this time they just do the normal extra point, make it 15-0. Midland Christian. Lobos trying to get something going on offense. This is Jaheim Amos with the carry. Tripped up, though, after a short gain. And the Mustangs blanking the Lobos in this one, 49-0. Midland Christian back at 500 on the year. Monahans still winless.
It's funny, in both of their wins, they've been shutout victories.
Yes, they have been.
All right, keeping you updated on some of these games here in the Basin. This Lubbock High-Lamesa game was actually suspended because some more lightning. We dealt with weather last week and some more this week, so we'll keep you updated on that one.
Yeah, a little unclear of the status of that game, but yeah, last we saw massive lightning delays up in Lamesa. Well, the first quarter is in the books, but a lot left on the final score. Coming up, we'll check in with our 6A teams, including the Permian Panthers. Mojo trying to pick up its first win and give Texas some bragging rights.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Well, we hope you didn't miss us too much. We are back to talk some football. We'll lay off the baseball for now, but time to talk some 6A football. And pretty interesting start for some of our teams.
How about those Rebels? In fact, Midland Lee off to a 3-0 start. No other team from the Basin has more than 1 win.
Yeah, for those 6A teams, a little bit of a struggle, a transition year for a lot of those schools, but perhaps the biggest surprise, I think you'd agree, Permian still looking for its first victory. The Panthers 0-3 for the first time since 2013.
And tonight they are taking on a team out of California, the Palm Desert Aztecs here. So Mojo looking to represent Texas after a lengthy lightning delay. Fans, of course, super excited to see Mojo back on the field. First quarter, Aztecs with the ball. Isaiah Durant going to take the handoff. And our wonderful reporter Gian here stepping around all of these coaches so you can see he's going to run it in for the first touchdown of the game. So Palm Desert on the board first. Then Permian looking to respond. Caden Bays airs this one out to Alex Rose. Nice
there we go.
There for the Panthers.
Turn
looking
up
to capitalize later on that same drive. This time, Malachi Medlock. He's going to take the handoff for the Panthers and just muscle his way into the end zone. Touchdown is good. So Permian goes up in the first half. Taking a look at this final score. And the Panthers get their first win of the season, taking down the Palm Desert Aztecs 47-14.
All right, now back in the Tall City, Midland High and Abilene High. Abilene High winless, Midland High trying to go to 2-2. Homecoming, by the way, for Midland High. And it was a little rough night for the mascot the other night, but on the field here, rough start as well. Late first quarter, 4th down for the Eagles. Matthew Azell to Jashari H-Town Houston, working his way into Bulldog territory. A penalty would negate some of this yardage, but later in the drive, Azell finds Trey Phillips once again to move the sticks. And finally, the Eagles able to punch it in. This is Eric Abbey finding a hole and hits it right here. 7-0 Abilene High. We move to the second quarter. Bulldogs trying to start something. There's one of the mascots. Nicholas Peralta to Jeremiah Phillips. First down right there, but that was about it. There was not much offense for the Bulldogs in this game. 28-7 the final. Eagles getting their first win of the season to improve to 1-3, while the Bulldogs fall to 1-3.
And Midland High's Tall City rival, the Rebels, taking on El Paso Eastwood tonight. Lee ranked number 24 in the Dave Campbell's ranking. Eastwood got their first win of the season last week against Horizon, but ran into a very good Midland Lee team. Mikey Serrano passing to Loic Fungi for a touchdown, 41-10. Midland Lee right now. Later on, here's Serrano again. Airs this one out to, guess, Ben, guess.
Is it Loic?
Oh, you would be correct.
Fungi.
48-10. Midland Lee. Taking a look, and you could probably guess how this one winds up. Rebels take home the victory, 69-18. They improved to 4-0 on the season.
Well, how about some Thursday night action out in the Sun City? Odessa High trying to move to 2-2, taking on El Paso Montwood. Both of these teams came in 1-2 on the season, and we'll head out to the SAC, as they call it, the Student Activity Center out in El Paso. First quarter, Sebastian Galvan to Yamil Ozaka for the touchdown. Rams take an early 7-0 lead. Drumming up some points later on in the quarter. Galvan once again through the air. Sal Soto makes the reception, breaks the tackle, and he's gone. 14-0 Rams in front, and they would not slow down from there. Chris Ramos going in for the touchdown right here. And unfortunately for the Broncos, a very tough defeat on the road, 51-14. Rams get the win. Broncos fall to 1-3.
All right, we're going to keep it rolling, taking a look at some scores here. Kahoma, undefeated on the year up until tonight, hosting Slayton, and they lost a tough one, 28-26. Bulldogs lose.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look to see how that went down. New Deal hosting Stanton, the state runners-up from a year ago, the Lions, and we'll take it out to New Deal, where the Lions were looking to start off perfect once again. Defensive struggle for the majority of the first half. First possession for the Lions. Hayden Cottle gets picked off by Stanton right there. And then 4th and long, Buffalo's trying to capitalize. One of the few times this would happen, Lions standing tall on defense, turnovers on downs, and they would capitalize. Caudell calling his own number, making up for the pick. And going right past the cameras, he would go in for a score. Here it is. Look here. Making some moves, do what you got to do. And Stanton struggling there offensively. We'll take a look at the final score in this one for the Buffaloes and the Lions. New Deal getting a close win, 21-14, but probably a little closer than they would have liked against the pesky Buffalo squad.
All right, we're going to take a look at another score here. Crane on the road visiting Kermit. And the Golden Cranes are going to stay undefeated on the season, 48-25, your final up in Kermit.
And another 3A, 2A matchup. McKamey 1-2 on the year after a couple tough defeats. They had a pretty impressive win week 1. They get the win here, 33-7 over Reagan County. Alba still looking for their first win.
All right, some more games for you here. Alpine visiting Wink, both teams with just one win on the year. Fighting Bucks up 7-0 in the first quarter, and then Alpine with the ball again. But this pass is picked off. Braden Dunlap for Wink comes up with the interception. Unfortunately, Wildcats not able to capitalize on that. So Bucks with the ball again in the second. Diego Monclova takes the handoff, makes a nice little gain for the Fighting Bucks. Later on in the same drive, Alan Vargas is going to take it this time. Secures first down for Alpine, but unfortunately, Alpine not able to capitalize really on either of those, so they're going to settle for a field goal, but that will put them up 10-0 with about 6 minutes left in the first half. So taking a look at the final of this one, Alpine goes on to hold off the Wildcats 30-13. So Fighting Bucks improve to 2-2. Wildcats fall to 1-3.
Well, a team looking for its first win of the year, Ira Ann 0-3 coming into tonight at home, taking on the El Dorado Eagles. And there you see the Braves struggling once again. Shutout at home, 36-0 the final.
A few more scores for you. Colorado City visiting Forsan. Buffaloes get a nice win.
All right.
34-14, your final up in Forsan.
I believe they came up short in the Battle of the Buffaloes last week. All right, here's a good one. McLean. Balmorhea. McLean, the state champs in 6-man Division I from a year ago. A neutral site up in Borden County. We'll start in the second quarter. Bears up a score. Lane Carrasco comes up and picks off the pass from McLean, and he's going back to the house. Balmorhea up 16-0. Remember the Bears' big win. Mercy Rule win over Garden City in our game of the week last week. Same quarter, Carrasco trying to make some room. Passes it out to Aaron Mendoza, and Just like Brody Ray with Greenwood. What's a Balmorhea highlight if we don't have Mendoza scoring a touchdown? A touchdown right there. Balmorhea was up 32-0 at the end of the first quarter. Got a little tighter in that second half, but you see there the Bears, a nice statement win, 48-35 over McLean. Big win for Balmorhea.
Balmorhea, a force to be reckoned with. I'll tell y'all what. Rankin, also a force to be reckoned with. Red Devils undefeated, and they get another win tonight, taking down Westbrook 61-8.
You think Rankin has some depth within its program as well?
Maybe let's see.
Some Thursday night action. Rankin, the JV team, getting a win as well, 51-26 over, I believe, one of their district rivals, Sands. So a nice win for the Red Devils there.
And we love six-man over here, so we're going to keep you updated on some more scores. Fort Hancock visiting Fort Davis, and the Indians,
look out.
Okay, staying undefeated, 4-0 now with a 46-20 win over the Mustangs.
Steadily moving up those rankings. All right, Borden County hosting the Roby Lions, and Borden County, they remain undefeated. They could be back this year as well. 24-0 victory for the Coyotes.
And Klondike looking to improve upon that 2-1 record, and they certainly do tonight. 65-39, your final over Meadow.
And shout out as we show Grand Falls Royalty getting a win over Grady, 48-12. If you didn't see our story, actually that's at the half at last check, so we'll have to earmark that one. But our athlete of the week, Nathan Gerardo, inspirational story. Check it out on our website, yourbasin.com.
And like we just mentioned, Garden City took its first loss last week against Balmorhea, but they get back into the win column this week with a 48-7 win over Buena Vista.
All right, and Lubbock Homeschool Titans will be on the road taking on Sanderson tomorrow. Now, this is a game tomorrow. I believe it is also homecoming for the Eagles. That game starting at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon.
Looking forward to it. We're still rolling here on the final score. Coming up, the best highlight of the night, play of the week is next.
And we have much more entertainment value on the way as well. We go back to our game of the week where we run into our band of the week. Stay with us.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
And welcome back inside our studio. It's not one where we typically record music, although we do have some tunes to deliver for you tonight.
Of course we do. You can't have the true Friday night football experience without a good band.
You really can't, can you? And with that in mind, it's time for us to hear from our band of the week, and we send it up to the pride of the tribe from, you guessed it, Seminole. Well, there we go, and thanks once again to the pride of the tribe. And it's now time for us to return back to the action on the field.
That's right. We showed everyone the band of the week, and now it is time for our final score, play of the week.
Well, you got to love a quarterback who wears number 21. That means, if I'm going to say anything, he's probably got a running back mentality, don't you think? And Dominic Aguilar for Fort Stockton, just weaving through that defense for Lakeview there. Big touchdown for the Panthers.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're really impressed with this Fort Stockton team in general, but yeah, Aguilar did a number on St. Angelo.
He did, keeping those legs churning. That was like 1, 2, about 2.5. I'll give him half credit for that one. Broken tackles on his way to the end zone. Nicely done from Mr. Aguilar. Our final score play of the week. Well, our final commercial break is coming up, but when we come back, we put a bow on this whole week 4 and give you our final thoughts.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Well, week 4 of high school football has come and gone. We've had a month of it.
It's crazy.
Hard to believe that we're in a month in, as we mentioned, but really starting to learn some things about some of these teams as well.
Yeah, it always flies by like this, but some really important for some of our schools as well. Some of them playing their first district games just next week.
Yes, so, you know, time to really get it going, especially with playoff implications on the line. And with that in mind, we'll go out to our game of the week. Jake Eichstead, one of those teams playing district next week, the Greenwood Rangers, he's got some final thoughts on their big win.
The Final Score Sports Desk, brought to you by Stanley Ford.
Hey, Ben and Aaron, welcome back to Wigwam Stadium. Again, a 38-7 thumping of the Indians by Greenwood coming into the stadium tonight. The offense for Greenwood really looked good. They got 3 superstars on offense. Brody Ray, Snodgrass, and Trey Cross playing running back. Those 2 guys had probably 100 yards each on the ground tonight. Brody Ray, a couple really nice catches. He also had some great plays at free safety. Coach Purser also had some great things to say about that offensive line and, of course, that defense holding holding Seminole to only 7 points. Now, guys, I'm going to wrap it up as it is starting to rain. But again, a 38-7, very convincing win for Greenwood. They're going to be trouble for a lot of teams this year, and especially for Sweetwater next week. Reporting live, Jake Eichstead.
Let's get him out of that rain, maybe.
Yeah, it's a little wet, especially for the northern parts of our viewing area. I know you were stuck in some of that stuff for a long time. But aside from the weather, Aaron, any final thoughts from this week?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about this week, but I was really impressed with Fort Stockton. Panthers visiting St. Angelo Lakeview tonight. Both teams undefeated and got a big win over them as well. Their offense was really impressive. Of course, Coach Peters always likes to talk about how they really rely on that run game, as you can see.
Well, there you go.
Right there. So a nice win on the road against an undefeated Lakeview team. So those are my final thoughts, Ben. What do you think about this week?
Well, I'm going to go back to 6-man. I feel like I have a tendency to do this, but...
Just love 6-man.
Balmorhea taking on McLean. Now, McLean, yes, they won the state title last year. It's a different season, but make no mistake, the Tigers still have some big-time ballers on that team, including my guy Ben Crockett, the running back for them, who just torched Garden City in that semifinal game last week. I'd be interested to see more details of this game as we learn more about it. Looked like maybe some turnovers helped out Balmorhea in that first half when they really piled on, but the Bears,
they're showing people they're the real deal.
dare I say, are they back? Ready for another trip to Jerry World? We shall see. Before we go, we want to update you quickly on some scores that we did not have finals of earlier, but now we do for Midland Lee. A 72-26 win over Eastwood, second week in a row that they scored 70 or more.
Yeah, I just got really excited about that game, so I knew the Rebels were going to win. That's why.
There we go.
That's why I said that earlier, everyone.
And Grand Falls Royalty, that final as well, very similar, 74-26. I believe that is a 45ing over Grady. Well, that's going to do it for the final score, week 4. Be sure to check out all the highlights on our website, yourbasin.com. We'll see you next week.